Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, we on True School Sports bring you a development, okay, some news in the career of Artur Beterbiev. Artur Beterbiev, for a long time been one of the most highly touted, highly, just rated light heavyweights, but hasn't been able to get the light heavyweight fights that can take him to that next level. He's IBF champion, but he's an IBF champion who does not fight often, and he's had promotional issues his entire career. He had promotional issues with his Russian promoter, and now his Russian promoter sued him for breach of contract. And Al Heyman hasn't been able to get him the right fights against top level opposition. So he's looking at his career now. He's 33, 34 years old and does not have a significant fight to his name, and people are calling for the Kovalev fight, which I think should happen in late 2018. But we bring you some news in the career of Artur Beterbiev to let you know that he has a fight coming up later this year. He'll be fighting Callum Johnson. Callum Johnson has accepted IBF title shot against Artur Beterbiev. Callum Johnson earlier this year, pretty much. Earlier this year, he won the British title from Frank Buglioni, stopped him, and this is the same Callum Johnson who also did offer Anthony Yarde, the same Anthony Yarde who turned down the BWF title shot, but he also offered Hearn Matchboxing offered Callum Johnson to defend the British title against Anthony Yarde. Yarde's team turned it down, so it's ironic you got both guys who Yarde turned down are not fighting each other. So says a lot about Yarde, and it's not looking too good for him. Hopefully, Anthony Yarde can just continue building his career and eventually be ready to fight for a world title, because it doesn't look good for him right now. But Callum Johnson, good fighter. Solid. Pretty good fighter. We'll see what happens, man. Like Eddie Hearn actually did have some quotes here, because he is Callum Johnson's promoter. He said, I quote, "The IBF went down the rankings for BWF as mandatory, and everybody said no. Then the new rankings came out, and because Johnson beat Buglioni, he was the one guy that they hadn't asked. So they asked him, and he took it straight away. He'll have the fight. I like his cojones, but we still got to get the money, and I won't let him take the fight for small money. We worked it out over the next few weeks. So it looks like nothing's official. There's no venue, there's no date, but at least you have now a fighter, which it took forever, but you have a fighter who has verbally agreed to fight Artur Beterbiev, which is just crazy, because you would think like a guy who's 34 years old, inactive, people should be jumping up to fight that guy, but people know Beterbiev is a hell of a fighter. They know the work rate he brings to the table. They know like the deep amateur experience he has. They know the body punching he has. He's a fantastic fighter, and hopefully, if Beterbiev should be successful against Callum Johnson, because I believe Callum Johnson will go on there and give him some quality rounds. Should he be successful against Callum Johnson, he needs that Kovalev fight. I think the Kovalev fight for him needs to happen this year. They both had a crazy, just run. They had rivalry in the amateurs. Apparently, Beterbiev beat Kovalev multiple times in the amateurs. So they need to settle that in the pro ranks. They both have a strap. Obviously, he's gonna have to take care of Callum Johnson, who is a good fighter. Good fighter. Callum Johnson is, and I'm starting to like the guy more, honestly, because he wanted to fight Yarde. He's going to fight freaking Beterbiev, but nobody wants to fight. So I'm not gonna act like I know everything about Callum Johnson. I've really only seen that Buglioni fight, but I like it. I like the fact that he has some balls to him. Sometimes these guys just like balls. Like Don Turner. I knew Don Turner one time. Don Turner asked, what's the difference between fighters of today and yesteryear, and he says, well, they had balls. And, sometimes I feel like Don Turner, but if you look at the guys, because look, Beterbiev holds the IBF strap, so they said everybody not named Callum Johnson turned on the fight. So you look at the people in front of Callum Johnson, Carl Marat, he turned on the fight, Jürgen Bremer fight more than likely, Anthony Yarde turned on the fight, Enrico Colon already got beat by Beterbiev, and you got guys like Shawnee Monahan and guys like that, and so really we're looking at guys like Yarde, Bremer, Marat, names in the division, guys who have names in the division. These guys didn't want to fight Beterbiev, and Callum Johnson did. So we'll see what happens, man. Callum Johnson is finally making that step up to the British level, not British, to the level from British level. And we're gonna see what he's made of, man. Callum Johnson is what? How old is Callum Johnson? Doesn't even say. Oh, he's 32 years old. So yeah, 32 years old, Callum Johnson. Not the oldest, not the youngest guy in the world. No spring chicken. Fighting Artur Beterbiev, I like it, man. I like the medal. I like what I'm seeing from Callum Johnson. To fight Buglioni, who's a good. I know Buglioni. Buglioni is a good British fighter. Okay, he wanted to fight Yard, another promising British fighter, and then now he's like, you know what, y'all don't want it. They offered him the fight with Beterbiev. He has to take the fight. Eddie Hearn will work on the details, and we'll get a chance to see what he's made of, and we'll get a chance to see what Beterbiev still looks like, because Beterbiev hasn't fought in quite some time. I mean, his last fight, if I'm not mistaken, was on the undercard of. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it was on the undercard of Jose Ramirez, Mike Reed, which was in November. So let me see if I'm right, because I remember him being on that card. Let's see. Yeah, he won the world title on that undercard. I remember that. Yeah, so it'll be his first fight. There's no date right now. There's no date for that fight. But if you look at, it's May 10th right now as I'm shooting this video. And Rico Colling happened on November 11th. So you got December, January, February, March, April, May. So tomorrow it'll be 6 months, a 6-month layoff. If the fight happens within, let's say, a month, you're looking at a 7th-month layoff, and I don't think that's really the best thing for a guy like Beterbiev, because, I mean, look at his career. He fought once last year. He fought twice in 2016. He fought twice in 2015. He hasn't had 3 fights since in 4 years, So he's had a hard time getting, top-level guys in the ring. And I think for anybody who's been following this light heavyweight division for the last 3 or 4 years, and who wouldn't follow light heavyweight division? It's one of the most exciting divisions in boxing, and it has been for the last 3 or 4 years. We to be able to we wanted to see it in there with Kovalev, Stevenson, now Vazdik, even Andre Ward, Dmitry Bivol. We want to see him in there with the best, because we've heard for years about how great this guy was. He was a hell of an amateur. He stopped everybody they put in front of him. Everybody they put in front of him, he has stopped. So, in the amateurs, he beat some good fighters. He beat Michael Hunter in the amateurs. He beat Kovalev in the amateurs. So we'll see what happens, but that's the news. Callum Johnson stepping up to the world level to take on the very dangerous and very avoided Artur Beterbiev. So good to see Beterbiev back in the ring. Good to see Callum Johnson. Callum Johnson is a fighter that still has balls to take the fight. So we'll see what happens. Anthony Yard fights him. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take time to subscribe. And like I say in every gosh darn video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.